Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be, and welcome to a very special interview of the Final Cut Podcast. Today, I'm joined by an actor who I'm actually quite envious of. He is one of the stars of a follow-up series to Saved by the Bell. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Deshawn Cavanaugh.
Hi guys, how you doing?
I'm not too bad, mate. How are you?
I'm really well. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you very much. Well, I guess you've answered my first question already, haven't you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah. Right, so first question, obviously, is how did you get started in acting?
Great. So I will start by just giving a little background about myself. I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota, so I grew up there. I was doing musical theater. I was in show choir in high school, so I was really getting into like the arts and performing. And after that, I was trying to figure out like what exactly I wanted to do. I was thinking maybe either going to New York, maybe going to LA. And it turns out I had some family in LA, so I figured maybe I'll just go out there. And I took some time. I went to community college for a little bit and was really just trying to get my footing in the industry, figuring out like what's going on here. And from there, I just slowly but surely started getting myself on set. I do everything from being a PA to doing background acting, and then I just figured out and learned a little bit more and more, started taking classes, and and the rest is history.
And you're going quite well, aren't you?
Yeah, so far so good. I mean, I've been out in LA like chasing acting as my career for the past 5 years, and I mean, on social media and online, it looks like everything just happens overnight, but it's definitely been a part of a due process. It's been a lot of upfront like investment of time, energy, money. It's not like easy to just get started, especially if you don't have training. And so a lot of my time was just spent investing in myself, and then eventually, just like with anything that you truly believe in and really stay consistent with, you start to get that return. Things start to turn around. And so I'm really grateful to have had the blessings of the roles that I have had, and knock on wood for the ones in the future.
I think everyone's kind of like that, really.
Yeah.
I mean, I, for one, I'm definitely glad. I'm grateful.
Yeah, I try to just live my life from the lens of like gratitude, especially like with all the challenging things that have come into our, point of view this year. It's just like being grateful that we're learning things and that we're evolving, and just seeing everything as a challenge and not necessarily, challenges can knock you down, but the good thing about a challenge is you keep working at it, and eventually you will accomplish what it is you're seeking out to do, and then you'll create a new challenge or a new, ceiling to break, whatever it is.
Which I bet you do on a constant basis.
That's the goal. Yeah, I mean, that's what every audition is. That's the mindset. If you want to be an actor, the mindset needs to be like every audition is going to be a new challenge, and you need to be excited and happy for the challenge. Not in every single moment while you're doing it. Sometimes we're working out the kinks and it's tough, but staying positive, having people around you who encourage and inspire you is super important.
So obviously you already said you're an actor, so who are your influences growing up or when you try and be the actor that you are?
It's something where like I draw from a lot of people that I like. Like Will Smith was always one of my favorite actors. He was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was like multicam comedy. As you can see if you check out my credits, I've been on a lot of comedy shows. I think I have a knack for like fun energy shows, but I started to learn a little bit more about dramatic roles as well. I like everybody from Will Smith, Michael B. Jordan, I like him. Tom Hanks was one of my favorite actors growing up. Forrest Gump was one of my favorite movies just because my mom, as a joke, would always call me Forrest, and I was like, what do you mean, Mom? And then I watched the movie for the first time, and Forrest Gump has an amazing life. So I was like, Mom, it's a compliment to be called Forrest Gump. So I always loved Tom Hanks, not only for Forrest Gump, but definitely nostalgically for that.
Definitely.
Denzel Washington. I mean, there's so many. I mean, they're all coming into my head now. There's so many names.
I'll say it must be quite honoured being called Forrest in recognition of Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Life is like a box of chocolates. And another funny anecdote is that I was working as a waiter at Bubba Gump's for a while before I started really getting into my acting career. So Chris Pratt also did that as well. So, Bubba Gump's is a good place for a serving job if you need it.
I think the sort of career to start off with isn't really bad for any wannabe actor who actually wants to make it, because I didn't have a load. I'm not quite sure on the names wise, but I think not just obviously you and Chris Pratt, but there's been a lot who have actually done that before and done quite well.
I'm sure. I mean, they've got a revolving door, and it's like serving jobs. You get tips. The flexible schedule. You can have people cover you. That's what it's all about when you're having a career in the creative arts. You've got to be flexible and willing to just kind of go with the flow, as I'm sure you know.
Which I do know, yeah. Right, so I want to talk about your career beforehand. You've done a lot of films, both long and short. So, in your view, what's the difference between them in terms of preparation, planning, and rehearsing from your point of view?
So, I would say there's like a couple different like pinnacles in the industry as far as like being an actor on screen. Like, you've got feature film, you've got short film, you've got any type of episodic or like online web series type thing. And TV is got a specific kind of way about it. There's single cam comedy, which is like your Modern Family. You've got your multicam comedy, like I mentioned, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but it's all different styles. But I mean, each project just is completely dependent on the script, and so it's like depending on the characters and the roles within the script, that's really how you prepare. But I'd say for TV and comedy and stuff, it's a lot more. For me, I've done improv training, so I trained at the Groundlings, I've trained at UCB, and in those improv schools, like UCB is more situational based, so you're playing a character and it's all about the situation. So if you're a janitor and your job is to keep the floor clean, you really get into cleaning the floor, and then of course for the scene, to make it funny, there's somebody there to make a mess of the floor over and over again to fan your flame so that you can become this big character. And Groundlings, on the other hand, is very similar to that, but they'll get into the root of like, so why is that janitor a janitor? And it starts to be his, maybe a scene that I would do for improv where I'm playing a janitor would be more about like, oh, well, my family's a janitor, and like.
Remind me to invite you over to if I have a party. So if I ever have a murder mystery night, remind me to invite you, since you're good at improv.
Absolutely. I will bring my sheet, and hopefully you got a pair of scissors. We can cut some holes in there, and we can just have a good old ghost party. I'll be Casper. Casper the friendly ghost.
This might actually surprise you, but I've actually done my fair share of murder mystery nights.
Oh, really? I'm interested to hear about that. So they're like murder mystery nights where actors come in and they play roles, or you and your friends cast each other?
Actually, for the both of them, we did a home version where we basically were given somebody to play, and we basically had to dress up like who we were playing. And it was kind of like I'll not say like an interrogation, but it was kind of like we were asking everyone was asking everybody else questions. And we didn't.
Somebody has.
Yeah, we don't actually find out that until about like 3 minutes before the end, because we're all given the card about who's actually not the murderer and who is. I've only done it twice. But I was the murderer on both times.
Wow.
And I got away with both of them as well. That's what's even more shocking.
And that is the kicker. So maybe yeah, we put together a all-star team of improv and murder mystery experts.
Well, if I was going to do another one, I would say to people, right, before we start, can I just say who actually genuinely thinks it's me, and who actually thinks it's me just because I've done two others and I've been the killer?
Well, your statistics are off now, so, I mean, you could say it'd be me 3 times, but that's also, like, a really good gameplay there. Yeah. I watched Big Brother, which is basically kind of a very similar thing where everyone's trying to figure out who's getting everyone. Yeah. That's reality TV. I could talk all day about the shows that I watch.
But let's talk more about you. I mean, you've been in Young Sheldon, which my lady absolutely loves. Were you a fan of The Big Bang Theory before you knew about Young Sheldon?
Yeah, of course. That's another, multicam classic style of filming television, and that show is just great. I mean, the writing on that show is so smart. It's funny. It's quick, and that's a classic. I've been close to the sets. I haven't been to the old sets, but I remember back when they were filming, I was just getting my footing here and kind of figuring things out. So I was like, just to see the billboards of The Big Bang Theory every time I passed by Warner Brothers was pretty awesome.
No, it's not part of the not really a question, but I might as well ask it since we mentioned Big Bang Theory. Would you like to star with any of them if you're given the opportunity?
I mean, hey, in this industry, just like with improv, it's yes and who else? Come on. That's my mindset.
Well, go and audition for Harley Quinn, because that's Kaylee Kuroko's show.
Well, you never know. You never know. I mean, my people can get in contact with their people, I guess.
Who says they don't dream in Hollywood? Is all I was saying on that. Right, so you were also in a spin-off about the Goldbergs called Schooled, which was set in the 1990s. Now, I was actually a kid in the 1990s. That was where my main childhood was. So I'm going to ask you now, how weird was it on a show set in the 1990s?
Honestly, it was pretty awesome. Like, I've got the haircut for it. And as far as, like, the wardrobe, it was fun. It was really fun. I'll say that show, unfortunately, it has gotten canceled, I believe.
I think it has.
But yeah, the spinoff of the Goldbergs, I like that show because it's that single cam, fast paced comedy, and being in the 90s was just, being a jock in the 90s. If you watch my episode, I play a football player, and he's maybe not the most open minded football player on the team, but watch the episode and you will see the story unfold. But being a 90s jock, that's just classic, classic high school drama. It's fun. I played an athlete a lot of times on TV, and so it's always fun, especially here.
And so everybody knows, you obviously can tell that he's not a jock in real life. He's actually quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's nice jocks in high school too, but I didn't even play sports in high school. As you know, I was like I said, music idiot.
All right, then. I didn't actually know this until I actually did my research for you, but you were actually on Ballers, and you actually played a young Dwayne Johnson.
That is true, yes.
I bet you must have been flattered for somebody to go to you and say, right, we're going to have you play a young Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I'm like, they're basically saying you got a movie star's face, so.
All right, then. Big question. Have you ever met the Dwayne of Johnson?
It's crazy. That show has a huge production team, and that day when I was playing him, he was actually shooting, so I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I'm sure someday, I'm putting that out in the universe.
It's actually quite funny you just said one day, if they wanted you to do more Young Spencer scenes, I'm guessing you'd be there in a heartbeat. They wouldn't even need to ask. You'd just say, right, tell me where and when, and I'm there. Well,
yeah, I mean, especially like when you do, when you do repeated roles in the industry, they usually just call you back and do offers for it. I do think that show is on its final season as well. I'm not exactly sure. I thought season 5 or 6 was going to be the final season, so who knows? But,
anything is possible. So obviously we're here for one reason and one reason only, the Saved by the Bell follow-up. Now,
I hope not one reason only. I hope I'm cool enough to.
No, obviously it's get to know you as well, but that is obviously the main reason for all this. I'm going to be honest.
The hottest debutist.
Yeah, it is, yeah. I must admit, I was a huge fan of the original series. Both me and my sister were. We'd watch it, both that and the college years, every time we could. So did you actually know of Saved by the Bell in the 90s before you auditioned, or did you watch old episodes beforehand just to get you into the certain mindset of where you would actually be going?
Right, yeah. Definitely knew of the show. I mean, we all knew of the show in a sense, but when I got the audition, I definitely did much more research, and I started watching old episodes, and then I started watching stuff from the people who I knew were going to be on board. Is the creator Tracy Wakefield? She's an incredible comedy writer, producer. And she's an actress too. She had her show as well. Great news. I just started doing a little research into like the comedy style that I thought was going to be the most present. And, you know, like I was saying, the original Saved by the Bell was a multicam comedy. So that was stages, like laugh tracks, you know, big moments. There's pauses. It was live, you know. And with the new script, it's single cam. So, I mean, most comedies like Modern Family and shows like that nowadays are single cam. So the pacing is just different. But the good thing about this show is it's got that nostalgic feel. You know, it's got those big moments, and that's where an actor like me who has fun and is able to just be, you know, play big characters really can have a lot of fun. And I will say the cast and the crew on that show were incredible, and it was a blessing and an honor to work with them.
Now, obviously, nobody. People might not actually know this, but you actually played Colt, one of the main cast members who will be in it, I'll say, near enough all season. Can you give us any information about him, with obviously without spoiling too much?
Well, I'll say, you know, he's like your classic kind of, you know, your buddy. He's an athlete. He's a football player. He is, you know, I'm a reoccurring character on the show, so I'm not in all the episodes, but I definitely am there for a laugh. I'm definitely, I think, somebody that people will be happy to see. And Colt is just, he's a puppy dog. He's a great guy, and he's one of the Bayside boys. I can't say too much. So just, you'll have to watch the show when it comes out, and you know.
All right. Are you basically a next generation AC Slater?
I don't think that honor lays upon Colt. I do think that honor does lay upon the cast somewhere, but you will have to watch and see.
And I can't personally wait. So yeah, you've already mentioned that you're on the recurring cast. So have you actually met any of the original cast?
Absolutely, yeah. I have worked with Mario. He's great. He's been, you know, as you can see, if you watch the trailers, you see he's the football coach. So between him and my other co-stars, it's just been really fun working with them. Also, Elizabeth Berkley on set, she is just the sweetest, nicest person. Yeah, really, really good energy to be around. And then, you know, having people on the team who are so famous, and this is like their show, the thing that, you know, took them from being teenagers to being stars. There's just a lot of heart that's in the production that you can tell.
Yeah. It's funny enough we actually mentioned the cast, because obviously Mark, Tiffany, and like you said, Elizabeth and Mario are back. But you actually get someone else in the term of John Michael Higgins, who, as anyone who has watched Pitch Perfect knows, he can deliver a comedy line or two. Did being on set come with a bit of nostalgia for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, he was great to work with. Super nice guy. You know, back before all of the pandemic stuff, we would all get lunch together, and I definitely got to connect with a lot of the cast members, and they're all just great people, funny people, smart. You know, what you would expect from anybody who has had a career in the industry long enough. You pick up a few things when you play a few roles, you know.
Yeah, I bet you've learned quite a bit, haven't you?
I'm just starting on my journey. I'm only 5 years in. They say it takes 10 years of hard work, and then they'll still call you an overnight success. So I'm very much willing and ready for that, you know, those challenges like I was talking about earlier.
All right, then. Here's a challenging one for you. What can everyone expect from the series? And more importantly, for fans of the original like me and my sister, will we like it as much as we did in the olden days?
I'd say expect the unexpected. That's Big Brother's thing. That's them, but that's all them. But I'd say just be ready for something new. It's a new cast. It's a new look at the show with the classic characters and feel from the original. So I'd say this is a new time. This isn't going to be a show for the older generation. It's going to be a show for the newer generations, but I think it transcends that and would be able to be something that, you know, parents and children and everyone in between can watch together, and it will definitely start, a dialogue of some kind. Any show is dealing with, each episode is dealing with some type of problem or something that, needs focus. And I think that our show does a great job of doing that in a context that's fun, but still, takes itself seriously.
Well, I look forward to watching it when it eventually comes around. Right, so I can say this from personal experience, but have you ever got starstruck on the inside while on the outside you're like, it's okay, it's just another day in the life of an actor, I will get through this?
Oh, yeah, always. I mean, one of my co-stars, Dexter Darden, he is an incredible actor, and he's been in a bunch of movies. He's from The Maze Runner,
Ooh.
And, I mean, just, like, getting to know him and being friends with him, it's like, at first it was like, whoa, I know you. I've seen you in so many movies, and then by the end of the season, it's like we're friends, and we're talking about like, oh well, good luck on this audition you got, or I'm excited to see this thing you got coming out, and that's what I think it's all about. I mean, even with Mario too, it's like first time you meet anybody, you're like, okay, play cool, just do your job, and then eventually, you just realize that everyone's just a person,
Yeah, if I met Mario Lopez, I'd probably get a little tongue-tied. I'd probably need my lady to say, "Hi, you all right?" And I'm just like, I'd just be like that all the time. That's actually what happened to me the first time I got tongue-tied.
Who was it with?
It's actually a British soap called Hollyoaks. It's one of the. He's actually there now. Actually, he plays one of the main baddies on it, but he is such a nice guy. It's one of those actors where he actually is like a proper gangster on the actual program, but in real life he's actually quite nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's always surprising when somebody who's a total badass on screen is like super sweet and nice and.
It is a bit, yeah. Just one. Oh, yeah. Obviously, I need to ask this because everyone else needs to know. Has Mario Lopez still got his youthful complexion?
I will tell you. I would say yes, and you know what? I would also say he's still got his moves as well.
If only everyone aged as gracefully as he does. Because I've seen both the trailers for it, and I'm like. How has he not aged that? How has he aged so gracefully? It's like a lot of people.
I don't know. Maybe it's all the dancing that he does.
Yeah.
He stays in shape.
It's like Jennifer Lopez. She's 51. She still looks like she's about half her age.
Yeah. J-Lo looks great. I mean, hey.
I know. Right, so...
If you got it, you got it.
You definitely have. So obviously, this year hasn't been the best for movies and TV series, as everyone knows. So, filming has resumed, I understand, and how much more have you got to do, or is the season finished filming?
Well, it's just getting ready to go to post-production, so I think, things will be wrapping up and getting together very soon. I mean, with the pandemic, a lot of shows had to take a hiatus, and we did.
Yeah.
So we got back to it, and things should be... Things should be looking up. I don't know exactly when the release date is. They're still, still going to put stuff in the chamber. So when that information is out, just keep your eyes tuned on the Instagram, the social medias, and and that. But
I guess
I will say, I think it's definitely something that they're going to build the anticipation up for, and rightfully so. It's going to be a huge reboot.
Well, I guess you just answered my next question for me. It was going to be, when can everyone expect it to be released and where? Obviously in different countries, but you kind of answered that.
Right, yeah. I was kind of trying to get the two birds with one stone there with we will watch for the official release date. But, keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah.
I'd say don't go too far.
We'll see how it goes, but me personally, I'm planning for next year, maybe early next year at the latest, maybe, for a guess.
Yeah. Oh, and that's with anything in the industry. It's like, I'm guessing a lot of online stuff has got a lot of back catalog, and, with NBC Peacock coming out, they're excited for people to be getting on the platform, and it's just now started to become one of the main streaming, like, icons that pops up for the devices and stuff. So my mom told me she's enjoying watching it. She's watching. It's about a national park. What's the show? It's on NBC Peacock. Gosh.
Is it Yellowstone? Is it?
Yellowstone. Yep, that's the one.
And I'm not even in America, and I know that.
Yeah, yeah. My mom says she likes it. I haven't seen it yet, but apparently it's good.
So obviously, everybody probably won't know this, but you're not just an actor. You've done a spot of hosting. In fact, I think you've literally done everything on a short movie. So what haven't you done that you feel you could actually do?
You know, we are just gonna have to find that out, Dean. I don't know. I'm at a point in my life and my adulthood where I'm kind of just taking things as they come, day by day. I do music, I do acting, I produce my own creative content. I think right now it's just one of those times where we're all looking to learn a little bit more about ourselves. I think the pandemic actually helped me a lot because it gave me a lot of time to sit inward and really figure out what it is that I want for my everyday life. And, of course we want to be making movies and shooting TV whenever we can. But, as an actor, it's a lot of ebb and flow, and giving myself all of this time to really just be with myself. Nice. And I'd say continuing to explore and learn about myself and seeing what that unravels for my career,
Indeed, I do. All right, so since you've literally done everything on a short movie, you can answer me this question. I apologize. Is it easier doing a movie that you have a clear vision for rather than trying to get someone else's vision across?
I'll say it just depends on the script, depends on the process, depends on the person. I've worked with so many people that I'm a collaborator. I love working with people or people. If someone's got a strong vision, then I want to be there to help bring it to fruition. And if they've chosen me for the role or they're looking at me for the role, I want them to know that, I'm willing to go the 110% to figure out what it takes to figure out what the vision for the film is. I'm an actor who likes to make choices, I mean, my first line that I ever got on a show was because I was supposed to just be featured just sitting there, and I decided, I'm going to say something. And I did. And the whole production paused for a moment, and we were like, what? And then they were like, you know what, we really like that. We're going to keep that. And I was like, okay, good. Sorry, I didn't mean to, it just seemed right. And, that's kind of what you want to invite, that collaborative process. But it's for me, I really like producing and creating my own thing. And when I'm directing, when I'm producing, I really am grateful when I have actors who are willing to, give me more or give me something, or, it's just like being adaptable. It's being adaptable to each type of set because each movie has a different tone, a pacing, and energy. And when I do more serious stuff, I'm a little bit more quiet on set. And when I do more fun, positive stuff, I'm a little bit more, energetic, vibrating at a higher frequency,
It's always nice to vary it up, so to speak, isn't it?
Yeah, change the tones. We don't want to get put into a box, but we oftentimes do in this industry. But being versatile.
Indeed. So, yep. So this next part is just a little section that I'd like your insight into. So, what advice would you give someone who is going through a decision where they feel they are getting nowhere with their career? It doesn't matter whether it's singing, dancing, movies, stunt work. So, what would your advice be?
My advice would be to really look at all of the things that are going on within your life and come from a minimalist mindset and say, well, what is it that I need? And then channel your energy towards the things that it is that you think are going to be fulfilling you the most. If you are a singer, if you are an actor, if you are a producer of any kind of creative content, how are you energizing yourself? Do you go and work all day, and then when you're done, and you're so happy to be done? Or do you work, take a break, move around? I think giving yourself breaks and realizing that it's not a race. It's not a 100-yard dash. It's, it's a long run. It's a
marathon.
all,
Yeah. Because I actually have felt like that sometimes, but now I've stuck through it, and now I'm actually getting more stuff come my way in literally every sense of the word.
And that's what happens when you take a second and really look inward and let the world come to you. I mean, that's something as an actor, you want to be, in every audition, you want to be pleasing somebody. But when you stop trying to please the people outside of you and you just start trying to please and get to know yourself, then you don't have to work so hard to get in those rooms or to be seen or to be valued, because you are doing the number one most important thing, which is valuing yourself.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is also a question I'd like your insight into, considering you are actually in that industry. Do you think cinemas will be replaced by straight streaming services? So instead of going into cinemas, it will go straight to Amazon, Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max, etc., etc.?
Hey, I mean, the industry is changing day by day. The digital world is evolving, so it's hard to make predictions. It's hard to know, but I'd say it's definitely possible, likely, and, we're already seeing stuff going straight to streaming.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to have a multi-million-dollar budget and know people who can get your movies distributed in a theater to be a filmmaker anymore, or to make TV, or in a sense, to make media, in a sense, like Stranger Things, they shot with Netflix, and that's all media. And that's, we value Stranger Things and all these Netflix originals and these Hulu originals as TV. They're shows, but they're not on television, on broadcasting, but that, doesn't mean that it's not incredibly good content. And so I'd say, who knows? I mean, with movies, you're talking movies specifically, feature films.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were already starting to see a lot of that, and honestly, it's not a bad thing, because there's plenty of space online and there's plenty of space in the theaters eventually when it's time to really be back in theaters safely. I'm excited as an actor, as a person in the industry. Me and you, we're going to be all right. You're going to have a lot of content to talk about. It might not always be an actual feature film, but I'm sure it'll be something worth talking about. That's for sure.
Depending on what you watch, it usually is. I mean, I can't stop praising how good Kissing Booth is.
Oh, yeah. Kissing Booth 1. I watched that one. I haven't seen the second one yet.
Well, I like the first one better than the second one, but the second one still has a load of laughs in it.
Good. Okay, good. I'll check it out.
And the third one's out next year, but I don't know when.
Yeah. I mean, there's online movies, like Netflix releases, are great. I mean, did you see, of course you saw Marriage Story, right?
I haven't actually. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, the problem with streaming services is there's just so much to watch.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely a no, but I will keep an eye out for it, because I'll put that at one of the top of my priorities list, because I have actually started watching The Boys on Amazon Prime.
Okay, yeah, I haven't watched the first season, but I had an acting coach who really liked that show.
It is.
And so
basically,
I've heard the acting.
Yeah. The only way to think of it is basically just imagine Superman, Wonder Woman are complete and utter morons. That's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, it looks like quite a fun show.
It is.
I like Superman stuff.
It's quite gory, though, if I'm being brutally honest.
Right. That's part of the appeal with the show, I think.
Yeah, definitely is. Right then, so we'll stop talking about movies for a bit, and we'll talk about you. So, what are you, as a person, passionate about?
Well, as you can tell, I'm passionate about, self-health, personal wellness, like being in a positive psychology, is incredibly important. I am a person who I like to be on a high frequency and be around people who are accepting and loving and caring. And right now, it's not really the time to be out hanging out, but all of my extroverts out there, I want to let you know it's going to be okay. You'll be okay. Take this time to search inward, And I don't know, I do a lot of things. I play video games. I like to write. I'm working on a couple scripts right now. I have short film that we're going to take from a short film to a regular short film, so then we can potentially, get some funding and turn it into a feature film. And so storytelling is, like, for me, the number one interest. Storytelling in many forms, like, in forms of acting, in forms of music. I just like telling stories. I like art. I like expressing myself. I like taking in other people's art,
I admire watching other people's art.
Yeah, I think it's an underrated thing. It's like more people should be more celebratory of their friends' like creative passion. It's like, when did it become not cool to think that everybody else is cool? I think everybody's cool. Everybody's awesome.
I think a lot of people are. Obviously, there are one or two who aren't, but I always focus on the ones who are.
Right, and that's where the positive psychology comes in.
Indeed. So just moving on back to your movie career a bit, what would you say are your career highlights? It doesn't matter how big or how small.
Okay, I'd say, honestly, my first short film that I did here, I'm looking at the poster right now, The Deal, Sean Kelly, Ruby Red Productions, shout out to you guys. That was the first, short that I ever got cast in, and it was a great, great time. That's definitely one of the highlights because that's where a lot of my on-camera stuff got started. Playing young Spencer on Ballers, that was fun because we were doing stunts, and it was just a great couple days of shooting on that. I take every single opportunity that I've ever been blessed to have as an incredibly important step of my journey up the staircase, of wherever it is I'm going. And so I'd say, I'm incredibly grateful for every opportunity I've had. Highlights. I was on SpongeBob once. I was a dancer on SpongeBob. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I got to meet Lucy Liu when we did Why Women Kill. That was incredible.
What is she like?
Yeah. She was so sweet, so nice, beautiful, and the show was set in the 80s too, so that's another period piece that I did. So the set and wardrobe on that was really fun. I played a track player on Why Women Kill. It's great murder mystery type show.
Yeah, ooh, might watch that. Despite the fact that Lucy Liu has been literally kicking people's backsides the majority of her career.
Yeah, hey man, gotta love some badass women's in movies too.
I definitely will not argue with that, sir.
Uma Thurman too. I mean, of course we think about Kill Bill, but
yeah, definitely. And obviously Linda Hamilton in Terminator and Terminator 2.
Yeah.
All right, then. So you've mentioned some projects you've got coming up, or what you're hoping to have coming up. So what other projects have you got coming up in the next, I'll say, couple of months to a year, but obviously it depends how quarantine goes?
Yeah, well, I am helping out producing a show that's still under wraps right now. So, we have a few things in the works, but, as far as what's going on, there is stuff picking back up. Auditions are going out and around, and
Good.
I'm excited to see what happens. We can film safely. I think TV will take a little bit longer to get back to, but we'll just wait and see. I'm excited to just have a little time for myself. I have 3 short film scripts I'm working on, so I'm going to work on that, and in the meantime, I'm going to give 120% to every audition that comes my way, and we'll be putting out that content in 2021 if everything goes accordingly.
Which I hope it does, because everyone kind of needs to go back a bit to normality a bit. Excuse me for that.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So what does the future hold for you, or what would you like the future to hold for you?
Well, that's a big question, Dean.
Just be truthful, mate. Just be truthful and just translate how you feel.
Yeah, no. I want the future to hold a reality in which the civil unrest that's taking place in the country that I live in could be settled, eased, but not placated, actually looked at, actually sensed. I mean, I am a big believer in the Black Lives Matter movement, in the fact that it just starts a conversation that's needed to be started. You know, as far as like the political ends of the spectrum, you know, there's nothing political about the preciousness of life. And in a country, we all need to feel safe. And I want to spend a little time talking about that, because that's something that's passionate to me. I mean, I've been disheartened to see and learn and educate myself on all of the injustice that's taken place, but I want to see the future where, you know, not only are these injustices no longer taking place at such a consistent rate or at all, but we take that momentum and we push it into a cultural revolution or leveling up of our nation, so that the content, you know, that we are really holding up high and being proud of is stuff that we all can look at and say, wow, I feel like I'm a part of that. That represents me, not only because I live in this country just because, but because, you know, I know that we're stronger together, and that, you know, allyship and coming together. I don't like how divided we are right now, but it's unfortunately inevitable. But I'll say, you know, my hopes for the future are that we can come together in as many ways as possible.
It would be nice, wouldn't it, if that actually happened?
Yeah.
All right, then. If people want to find... Carry on, mate, carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say positive psychology. I mean, it's all about just starting the conversation, being able and comfortable to, you know, be there for somebody.
Yep. All right, then. Yep. All right, final question. If people want to find you on social media, how would they go about it?
You can check me out on Instagram. My name is Deshawn, Cav, Deshawn, Cav. You can also check me out on IMDb. You can check me out on Twitter, Deshawn_Cav, and Facebook, Deshawn Cavanaugh.
And on that, ladies and gentlemen, I give you future star of Saved by the Bell, Deshawn Cavanaugh. Sean, thank you very much for having me tonight.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast.